I'm 94 years old, and I'm going to tell you something that no book, no therapist, no well-meaning friend will ever tell you. I'm going to tell you the 8 things that would have saved me decades of suffering if I had known them when I was in my 40s. My name is Harold, and I've buried a wife, 2 brothers, and more friends than I can count. I've watched my children grow old themselves, and from this chair, looking back at nearly a century of living, I can see with painful clarity all the moments I got it wrong. So sit with me for a few minutes. This might be the most important conversation you never knew you needed. The first lesson took me until I was 63 to learn, and by then I had already lost her. My wife Eleanor and I had been married for 31 years when she sat me down one evening in October of 1987. The leaves were falling outside our kitchen window, and she had made my favorite pot roast, which should have been my first warning. She looked at me across that table and said, "Harold, I love you, but I don't know you anymore. You come home, you eat, you watch the news, you go to bed. We haven't had a real conversation in years." I remember feeling defensive, angry even. I worked 60 hours a week to give her everything she wanted. Wasn't that enough? But here's what I didn't understand then. She didn't want the house. She didn't want the car. She didn't want the vacations we never took because I was too busy. She wanted me, my attention, my presence, my curiosity about her day, her thoughts, her dreams. The first lesson is this: the people you love don't need your money. They need your time. And time is the one thing you keep telling yourself you'll have more of later. You won't. Later becomes never faster than you can imagine. The second lesson nearly killed me, literally. In my 40s, I was invincible. I smoked a pack a day, drank whiskey every night, and ate whatever I wanted. Sleep was for the weak, I used to say. I'll rest when I'm dead. Well, I almost got my wish. At 54, I had my first heart attack in the middle of a sales presentation. I remember lying on that cold conference room floor, staring at the fluorescent lights, thinking, this is it. This is how Harold Mitchell ends. Not surrounded by family, but surrounded by strangers in suits. I survived, but barely. And even after that, it took me another decade to really change. Don't wait for your body to scream at you. It whispers first. The headaches, the fatigue, the shortness of breath, those aren't just aging. Those are warnings. The second lesson is this: your body is not a machine you can abuse and repair later. It's a garden that needs tending every single day. Start now, whatever age you are. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. The third lesson is about pride, and this one still makes me ashamed to admit. When I was 46, my son Michael came to me. He was 22 then, just graduated from college, full of dreams about becoming a musician. I laughed at him. "A musician?" I said. "That's not a career, that's a hobby. Get a real job." I watched something die in his eyes that day. He did get a real job. He became an accountant. He's 70 years old now, retired, and last Christmas he told me something that broke my heart. He said, "Dad, I wonder sometimes who I would have been if you had believed in me." I carry that with me every day. The third lesson is this: your words have power you cannot see. The things you say to your children, your spouse, your friends, they echo for decades. Choose them carefully. Encouragement costs you nothing, but can give someone everything. Now pay close attention to this fourth lesson, because it goes against everything you've been taught. In my 40s, I was obsessed with success. More money, bigger title, more respect. I thought happiness was waiting for me at the top of some ladder I was climbing. I was wrong. I reached the top. I became vice president of my company at 51. And you know what I found up there? Loneliness, pressure, the constant fear of falling. Meanwhile, the happiest man I ever knew was my neighbor Joe. He was a mailman. Same route for 35 years. He knew everyone's name, everyone's dog, everyone's story. He died at 89 with a smile on his face, surrounded by what felt like half the town. The fourth lesson is this: success and happiness are not the same thing. You can spend your whole life chasing success and wake up one day successful and miserable. Define what happiness means to you, not what society tells you it should mean. The fifth lesson cost me my best friend. His name was Robert, and we'd known each other since we were both 23, fresh out of the Army. In 1978, we had an argument about something so stupid I can barely remember it now. Money, I think. He owed me $200, and I demanded it back in a way that questioned his character. He paid me back and never spoke to me again. For years, I told myself I was right. He owed me that money. But here's what I know now. I was right about the money and wrong about everything else. I traded 40 years of friendship for $200 and my pride. The fifth lesson is this: in every conflict, ask yourself what matters more, being right or being connected. Most of the time, the relationship is worth more than the victory. I would give anything to have Robert back. But he died in 2003 without us ever reconciling. The sixth lesson is about fear, and I need you to hear this clearly. I spent most of my 40s afraid of what people thought of me, afraid of failing, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of trying new things. I turned down a chance to move to California because I was afraid. I didn't start my own business because I was afraid. I didn't tell my father I loved him before he died because I was afraid it would sound weak. And now, at 94, I can tell you the truth. All those fears were phantoms. Not one of them was as bad as the regret of letting fear decide my life. The sixth lesson is this: fear is a liar. It promises to protect you, but really it just keeps you small. The things you're most afraid to do are usually the things your soul most needs you to do. The seventh lesson I learned from my granddaughter, of all people. She's 32 now, and a few years ago she asked me, "Grandpa, what's your biggest regret?" I thought about it for a long time, and I told her, "I regret all the moments I was somewhere, but not really there. All the dinners where I was thinking about work. All the school plays where I was checking my watch. All the conversations where I was just waiting for my turn to speak. I was physically present for my life, but mentally absent for most of it." The seventh lesson is this: presence is the greatest gift you can give anyone, including yourself. When you're with someone, be with them. When you're eating, taste your food. When you're walking, feel your feet. Your life is happening right now, not tomorrow, not someday, right now. And now I come to the eighth lesson, and this one is the hardest. In my 40s, I thought I had time to fix my marriage, time to reconnect with my kids, time to pursue my dreams, time to say I'm sorry and I love you. But here's the thing about time that nobody tells you until it's too late. It doesn't wait. It doesn't care about your plans. People leave. Opportunities close. Doors shut forever, while you're still deciding whether to walk through them. Eleanor died in 2001. I never got to have all those conversations I kept putting off. I never got to take her to Paris like I always promised. I never got to just sit with her in silence and truly appreciate her presence. The eighth lesson, the most important of all, is this: there is no later. There is only now. Whatever you've been putting off, whatever love you've been saving for someday, whatever words you've been afraid to say, don't wait. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for anyone. I'm 94 years old. I've lived through wars and recessions and the invention of everything from television to the internet. I've seen empires rise and fall. And the only thing that ever mattered, the only thing that still matters, is how we treat each other and how we spend our days. Tell me your story in the comments. I read every single one. At my age, these conversations are what keep me going. They remind me that wisdom shared is wisdom multiplied, and that somewhere out there, someone is listening. If this meant something to you, subscribe. Do it for the person you'll be in 30 years. Let them look back and know that you started paying attention before it was too late. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them today. Not tomorrow, today. Because that's the whole point of everything I've just told you. I used to think life was about the big moments, the weddings, the promotions, the victories. But I was wrong. Life is about the ordinary Tuesdays, the coffee with a friend, the phone call you almost didn't make, the I love you that felt too simple to say. That's where your life is waiting for you. Don't miss it while you're busy chasing something else.